Hey tribe, how y'all doing? Go ahead and click that subscribe button and I hope y'all like this video. This is RuPaul Drag Race Season 10 Episode 11? 9? I have to look it up. I'm sorry. I don't have it written down. But we pick up this episode where we left off last episode. Of course, it was the double Shantae You Stay. So the girls come back into the workroom, and you know they always talk about what happened. And so Aquaria, let me tell y'all something. You don't have to like what the fuck Aquaria is saying, but I understood what she was saying. The problem was she didn't want to be honest in the front, so she tried to make it seem like it was something else. Okay, so here's what happened. Aquaria was saying how she was upset that there was a double Shantae because her thing was, now we got to do this shit again, and I thought we was going to be down to 5, and I thought I was going to be a week closer to this crown that I know I'm about to win, and now I got to do this shit again. But what ended up coming out, because Asia checked her ass, and what ended up coming out was she was really mad that they did the double Shantae because she feels like there's only one save per season, and now that save is gone. So just in case she has to lip sync for her life, she knows that she doesn't have a save. That's what she really mad about, because she was like, I just don't think it's fair because and Asia was like, why do you know that? Like, they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. If they decide to do a double Shantae, they'll do a double Shantae, and if they want to keep people, they'll keep people. Like, it is, that's what they're going to do. And quiet as it's kept, what the streets is saying is that Aquaria, you in for the win anyway, or at least for the final top three or whatever, so go sit your ass down. But Asia got her ass together to the point where when they came back the next day, her ass apologized and was like, I apologize and thank you, Asia, for getting me together. Yeah, thank you, Asia, for getting her together. So the mini challenge was they had to become a butch. They had to basically flip their drag, and instead of women, they had to become men, but they needed to be butch men. And I personally felt like Cameron should have won a challenge. I thought Cameron did it, even though it really wasn't too far out of Cameron's comfort zone, and maybe that's why she didn't win. But I felt like she did a good job. Okay, it looked like it was something. Anyway, so Eureka, kind of flipped it. She kind of became like the plumber. She called herself BJ. And she was like this little plumber, had the hair on her chest and that kind of thing. Poor Asia. Asia couldn't be Bush to save her life. She was trying though, y'all. But she still just came off as sexy Calvin Klein model. Like, she tried, but she couldn't do it. Aquaria couldn't do it either. Aquaria couldn't, no. Aquaria's man was not manly. The other person that did a good job, I thought, was Monet. But of course, Monet did comedy. So she had like the afro and the buck teeth. It was almost like the dude from Martin. The character that Martin used to do. The Don't You Know No Good. Okay. It was kind of that thing. But again, Eureka won. Eureka ended up winning. And so this week's Maxi Challenge was the makeover. And the people that they had coming in were internet sensations, social media people who were like big YouTubers. I only knew 3 of them, but one of my favorites was actually there. So because Eureka won, Eureka got to pair the people up with who they were going to do the makeover with. And so it was Kingsley. I'm going to come back to Kingsley. Tyler Oakley, Frankie Grande, Chester C., Anthony Padilla, and Raymond Brian. I knew Kingsley, Tyler, and Frankie Grande. I knew Frankie Grande because of Big Brother. Tyler Oakley, I knew from 2 different ways. It's funny because I didn't know any of them from YouTube except for Kingsley. Tyler, I knew he was on Amazing Race. But before that, I knew him from a video I showed my students about social media people. How people turn social media into lucrative businesses. It was for a entrepreneur class that I taught one time, and it was a video that talked about basically making money in non-traditional ways and how the internet has now become a way for people to make money. It's funny. I should have paid attention. I'd have started making videos years ago, but who knew? Kingsley, though, I absolutely love Kingsley. One of my favorite YouTube videos is Kingsley. He did a video, and this is probably years ago. I'm going to find the link, or at least I'm going to try to find a link and put it in the description box. But it's a video he did about teachers one time, about how he didn't understand, like, teachers' jobs are so hard, and why would anybody ever want to be a teacher, and how disrespectful kids are. And when I tell you, a friend of mine, one of my really good friends, he sent it to me. When I tell you, I fell out and I watched that damn video so many times, and from that point on, I started following Kingsley on YouTube. So I knew who Kingsley was immediately, and I'm gonna find that video. It is freaking hilarious. And he's funny, but that video just had me dying. Anyway, so they had to do the makeover challenge, and Eureka, she called herself being strategic because she was like, you know, it's that point in the competition where you got to use every little, you know, advantage that you have. So I'm trying to make this work for me or what have you. And I don't feel like she was being shady. I feel like she was playing the game. Like, that's the shit that Aquaria should have done last week, and she didn't. She missed the opportunity. So Kingsley was with Aquaria, and Eureka's reason, first of all, Eureka was aiming specifically at Aquaria. Because I think, one, everybody's still pissed off at Aquaria for her attitude last week. And her, you know, her whole attitude about how great she is and how wonderful she's doing in this competition. So I really think Eureka wanted to knock her down a peg. I do think that was part of it. But her reasoning was that she knows Aquaria is great with makeup. But her thing was, maybe if I give her a black person, maybe she'll struggle a little bit with the makeup. And Aquaria was like, Eureka thinks she doing something because she giving me a black person, like I can't do black makeup. She was like, I've done black people. And they weren't saying black people. They were being politically correct. I'm saying black people. She was like, I've done black people's makeup plenty of times. I know what I'm doing. And she did, because Kingsley looked good when she did Kingsley's makeup. Tyler was matched with Monet. Chester C was matched with Cracker. Anthony was matched with Cameron. And Raymond was matched with Asia. The only other strategy I saw that she used was that she didn't put Kingsley with one of the black queens. Like, and she gave herself Frankie Grande, which both of them have such big personalities. And Frankie actually annoys the fuck out of me. But Eureka annoys people. She doesn't annoy me, but she does annoy people. So their personalities are so alike. I was kind of worried about them. First of all, about them getting on everybody's damn nerves. But then I was worried about them just doing too much and being too over the top. So Asia really hit it off with her person, because Asia was like, you know, I was a little nervous about, I don't want to keep about Raymond, but she was like, but I'm a pageant coach, so I know how to do this. And she said, she sat down and she was like, so have you ever watched Drag Race before? No, she was like, well, tell me about yourself. Have you ever watched Drag Race before? Who was your favorite queen? And Raymond said Latrice Royale. Asia said, we good. We're done. We're good. And then Asia took him over to her closet and said, what is it? Where do you like? What do you think you'd be comfortable in? Because Asia's thing was, I'll work around your comfort level and bring you where we need to be. Which I thought was a great strategy, because when you're taking somebody who's never done drag, never worn heels, never done make, like, so far out of a comfort zone, that you have to find a common ground and then bring them where you want them to be. So she pulled out this really nice sequin jacket type. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was very colorful and it was really pretty. And Asia was like, it's not really the direction I was going, but that's where we're going now. And she made it work. She made it work. So Cracker and her partner, what I wrote was that her partner didn't really watch the show. Cracker started talking about tucking. His face was like, tuck what? Tuck who? Tuck how? You know what I'm saying? Like, his face was like, oh no, we're not doing this. He had a beard. So, you know, Cracker was kind of like, okay, I'm not quite sure where to go with this. He's not gay. So Cracker was sort of starting with ground zero. But Cracker made it work. We'll get to them. Cameron and partner, again, Cameron's partner wasn't gay. And didn't really know anything about the show either. And his personality, Cameron's partner's personality seemed to be reserved like Cameron was. And so for a while, they were just kind of sitting there kind of like, so, come here often? You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't really doing a whole lot. But they started talking and dialoguing and what have you. And Kingsley even asked Aquaria, because they showed Kingsley and Aquaria. Kingsley was like, so, do you have my shade of makeup? But they talked, and Kingsley, it's funny because Kingsley's personality is so big on YouTube. He seemed so quiet and reserved. Like, he seemed really shy. And I thought, you know, that just goes to show when the camera comes on how people are versus away from the camera. But, and of course, Frankie. I wrote, my note says Frankie annoying because annoying. Asia, I see you, Asia. Asia ass watched the room. Every time when Ru came in, it was going around the workroom, Asia was just watching and observing and listening. I was like, I know you better. I know you better watch what's going on. And they were talking about the heels and stuff, and Ru was giving Asia some pointers on the best type of heels to put these men's shoes in, these men feet in, and how to do it. And Asia was like, oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there's a kind where you put the blow dryer on and you slide your foot in, and then it molds to you. I mean, they were like right here on the same page with a lot of things. And Ru even said, I hope the rest of y'all are listening to what we talking about, because I'm giving y'all some good shit right now. And Asia, I just noticed that Asia is an observer, and she watched everything. Every time the camera kept going back to her, and she was just looking, observing. I see you, Asia. So the twist was that they had to also do a video for RuPaul's song, Charisma. That song, yeah. Charisma, talent, uniqueness. Yep, that one. So, you know, Ru made her way around they spent a lot of time with the whole workroom scene this week. I guess because they had the guests and they wanted to, I guess, give everybody some camera time or what have you. But honestly, you know, she was just giving them tips and telling them what they should and shouldn't do and all that good stuff. And they looked like they were having a lot of fun. Like, they kept showing scenes of them doing runway and laughing, and everybody looked like they were having a good time. So that was good. That was good, because some of these makeovers in the past have been a little uncomfortable to watch, because the people are so, I think with these social media people, even the ones that weren't gay, because I guess they have big personalities, that they blended easier than like in past seasons where they did makeovers of the crew, or they did makeovers of, you know, military people. You're taking them so far out of their comfort zone. You know what I mean? So, the runway. And of course, the challenge was they had to look like they came from the same family, even if it wasn't the same color. Eureka and Frankie had matching dresses. Like, it was the exact same dress. And Eureka was going for like 90s pageant, over the top, poofy dress. And she did. I mean, if that was her look, she nailed it. The girls, I don't normally do Untucked, but the girls was giving her hell about that dress in Untucked. Asia did a really good job. Asia ended up making another jacket like the one her partner had picked out and paired it up, and they did a really good job on the runway. Cracker and her partner, it was funny because her partner seemed to be the one that was the most concerned. That's the guy that had the beard and had never watched the show, and he turned it out. Do you hear me? He was twerking, and their outfits were really cute, and the makeup was really nice. Like, they did it. They did the daggone thing. Aquaria and Kinsley, they loved the makeup. The outfits they didn't like. The judges, they said it just wasn't cohesive. It looked like they were at two different events. It had the same color scheme, but the outfits themselves didn't really match. And I agree. I agree. Cameron and her partner. Part of the problem was her partner wasn't comfortable. Like, when he walked like a man in heels. Like, there was no elegance to it. Like, he was a man in heels, you know. And they had on these disco queen type outfits that, other than they were probably going to the club together, they didn't really match. They had opposite wigs, and their makeup didn't really match. And that's kind of what the judges dinged them on. Like, Ross Matthews said it best. He said they look like two best friends going out. Like, they didn't look like sisters. They didn't look like they were in the same family. But they looked like they knew each other, and they had fun together. Then we have Monet. And last week, y'all, I kept calling Monet Monique. I'm so sorry. But we have Monet and her partner, who's Tyler. And Tyler was having a ball from the beginning. Tyler was loving it. He was like, this is his big, he loved the show, and it was just a dream come true for him. But the judges didn't love their look either. Like, they had the same color scheme, and they both had on, like, body dresses. But honestly, I just didn't think that Monet looked that polished. Like, she finally wore some big hair, which the judges gave her kudos on. They liked the fact that and Monet was like, what is it about, why are they hating on my princess, what they call them, her kitten wigs? They were like, why? She was like, why they hate? But my thing is this. You don't always have to understand why they hating on it, but if you keep getting critiqued for the same thing, you have to play the game. You ain't got to like the game, but it's the game you signed up for. You signed up for Drag Race, and you seen queens get dinged for not wearing breastplates in the past, where this season they don't seem to have a problem with the fact that Cameron and Aquaria don't never wear a breastplate. But it is what it is. If that's what their thing is this season, that they keep getting on you about them wigs, then 3 weeks ago, you should have started wearing big hair, because they keep telling you the same thing. And you have been robbed of 2 wins that I can think of because of your runway look. Like, you performed your ass off in the challenge, but your runway is not getting you over the top. And again, tonight, I wasn't impressed with your runway. I think Tyler looked better than you did. So I just felt like Monet was determined she was going to do it her way. And that's cool, as long as you're okay with going home doing it your way. And if you're okay with that, boo, do you. But understand that that's what they want from you, and they've told you what they want, and you just refuse. It's like you're like a little kid. It's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And you paid for it, because we're going to get to that in a minute. So, the top, Asia was safe. Eureka was safe. I thought Asia was going to win for a minute. I really did. But they really, really, really loved Cracker and her partner. And I did too. I wasn't mad that Cracker won. This was what I was mad about. The bottom was Monet, Cameron, and Aquaria. And I feel like Aquaria should have lip synced. But Aquaria was safe. But I think Aquaria ass should have lip synced. Now, like I said, word on the street is that the fix is in for Eureka and Aquaria. And I'm trying not to go down that road, but y'all making it real fucking hard for me not to feel that way. Because Aquaria, I feel like she got harsher critiques from the judges. And I really feel like she should have been in the bottom. Now, I will say this. I think that all 3 people who were in the bottom should have been in the bottom. I just feel like, I don't know. I just felt like it was Aquaria's time to lip sync. Maybe that's just what it is. So, Monet and Cameron end up lip syncing. And one of the guest judges was Lizzo. So they lip synced to her song. I'm going to be honest. I love Monet's lip sync. Y'all know I have. But I enjoy Cameron's lip sync better. Cameron was giving it to me. Cameron was looking like, I loved it. And, Monet did the same. And here's the thing. If I see any reviewer who doesn't have a problem with the fact that Monet turned her back to the judges, walked off stage, and then came back on stage, I'm going to have a problem with y'all, because if y'all were the same ones that critiqued Eureka for doing that shit last week when she walked away so that she could get ready to rev up to do her drop, right? Because they were like, oh, you turn your back to the judges and it's a lip sync and you shouldn't do that and you always should be facing the judges. Okay, cool. I don't disagree. But as a big girl, Eureka needed a little bit more runway space. I'm just being real about it. She took off her little cape that she had on to give herself a little more room, and she needed some runway space, like a plane. She needed more runway space, and so she went to the back of the runway to give her some space to do her drop and her split and stuff. She needed to do that, but I agree. She walked away from the judges. You couldn't see her mouth. That's a no-no. But Monet did the same damn thing. Monet walked her ass off the stage, and they panned over to Rue, and Rue's face was, what the fuck is she doing? And I knew what she was doing. I mean, of course you knew it was part of the act, and she came back on stage, and she sort of ran, and she did a split. I think she broke the damn light on the bottom of the stage. But she did like a running split, and she did the little split across the stage or whatever. Okay, cool. But again, you're lip syncing for your life. And you walked away during part of your lip sync and they couldn't see your mouth. All the while Cameron was still front and center of the stage and was lip syncing her ass off. Like, Cameron was lip syncing her ass off. So it was Monet's third time in the bottom. I love Monet. I was so because Monet, it was Cameron stayed, Monet went home. I like Monet, but I think it was Monet's time. Because, and it was funny because at the beginning, Asia even said, Monet, I like you, girl, but I don't know if you're going to make this. And I agreed. When she said it, I agreed, and I agreed at the end because, again, your performances are great. But from the very beginning, even going back to that damn sponge dress that you keep loving, your runway just never did it for the judges. It just never did. And like I said, I believe your runway cost you 2 wins. And this was your third time in the bottom. And yes, you can perform and you can lip sync your ass off and you did the damn thing. But I do think Cameron did a better job, and I think Cameron deserves to stay. So now we are truly down to 5 queens. I normally don't do Untucked, but that Untucked was ridiculous. A lot of the critique is about Eureka, it being rigged for Eureka and Eureka getting all this camera time. If that damn Untucked wasn't 90% Eureka, I don't know what was. Like, it just seemed like Eureka was everywhere. And again, I ain't mad at Eureka. Shit, she playing the game, and she knows where the camera's on. She knows how to get on camera, and the editing is going in her favor. And maybe the competition is too. I don't know. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in them comments. Peace.